2024, the rise of the island world and a new chapter in the global economy. In 2022, some key events took place in the global economy and politics. These events are all tied to a central concept: world islands. This concept was proposed by British geographer Mackinder in the early 20th century. He divided the Earth into central regions, mainly Eurasia and Africa, and marginal regions, such as the Americas, Australia, and other isolated continents. Mackinder was one of the first scholars to analyze economics and politics from a global perspective. He believes that the four major ancient civilizations in history all originated in the central region, but due to the vast territory, these countries face challenges in terms of economic and political integration, unless transportation efficiency is improved. According to this theory, global history is a struggle between land and sea powers. Although the sea powers once prevailed, the land powers, with their human and material resources, it is expected to gradually gain an advantage as traffic improves. Mackinder predicted that the development of the railway network would change the world landscape. To control Eastern Europe is to control the island of the world, and then control the world. In 2022, we reviewed these events through a series of video programs. Of particular concern is the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, which highlights Russia's economic and military might. Russia is the largest country in the world by area, but its GDP is not high. Part of the reason is the economic difficulties following the inheritance of the Soviet Union. In February 2022, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict broke out, becoming the largest local conflict in Europe after World War II. The G7 has imposed sanctions on Russia, excluding it from the SWIFT system. Many companies withdrew from the Russian market. Mr. Putin countered by tying the ruble to energy, weakening the impact of Western financial sanctions. At the same time, Russia's military strength has fallen short of expectations. Together with Western financial sanctions, it is an overrated factor. The weakness of the Russian economy has affected its cooperation with Central Asian countries. Although Japan and other border island countries rely on Russian energy exports. But under pressure from the G7, sanctions were also imposed on Russia, causing energy supplies to be strained. In 2022, Europe is facing an energy crisis and is seeking alternative energy sources due to Russia's sanctions. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson adopted a compromise strategy, mixing Russian oil and OPEC oil imports. This poses a hidden danger for his political career. In the same year, OPEC leader Barkindo died. The Nord Stream 1 and 2 natural gas pipelines were deactivated and damaged. This has exacerbated energy tensions in Europe. In this context, Europe seeks global energy. This has led to inflation and higher energy prices, prompting industrial relocation. Some European countries have approached China seeking cooperation. China resells American energy to Europe, and a large number of aircraft orders are handed over to Airbus to support European manufacturing. Under pressure from entrepreneurs, Germany approved China's investment in the port of Hamburg, and some of the company's business was transferred to China. France chose to engage with the West, exacerbating divisions within the European Union. The successful operation of the China-Europe Railway is an economic highlight in 2022. A train loaded with household appliances departs from Xi'an, China. After 6 countries, we finally arrived in Duisburg, Germany. It marks that the China-Europe Express train has entered a stage of high-quality development. In 2022, transportation connectivity in Eurasia will be strengthened. With the support of Russia, an important railway line that has been suspended for many years through China, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan advanced. The United States has intervened in multiple regions in history, often to weaken the connection between Eurasia. As the hub of the 3 continents of Asia, Europe, and Africa, Central Asia plays a crucial role. Brzezinski had predicted that if Iran, Russia, and China formed an alliance, it will strengthen the unity of the Eurasian continent. Iran has played a balancing role in global strategy through cooperation with China and Russia. There is no railway between China and the West as a fast track connecting China with Europe and the Middle East. It is essential for the China-Europe train network. Since 2011, the operation and freight volume of the China-Europe Railway has increased significantly. It covers 23 countries in Europe. Its share of China-EU trade is also growing steadily. At the same time, China's railway construction to the south has also made progress. The opening of the China-Laos Railway has laid the foundation for connecting more countries in Southeast Asia in the future. With the development of China's high-speed rail network and the expansion of China-Europe trains, the international community has become more aware of the importance of infrastructure building for economic development, and relevant countries have also benefited from it. This has also promoted China's further development in diplomacy and international cooperation. Since the Belt and Road Initiative, China has built an advanced high-speed rail network and hold a leading position in the global manufacturing industry. In 2022, Chinese leaders' diplomatic activities will be similar to those in 2013. It reflects China's continued activity and influence on the global stage. On November 18, 2022, China participated in the 29th APEC Informal Leaders Meeting held in Thailand. We have further strengthened our cooperative relations with ASEAN countries. In December of the same year, although the Chinese football team failed to participate in the World Cup held in the Middle East, but China's diplomatic activities in the region have not stopped. Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries have cooperated with China, seek to reduce dependence on oil exports and promote domestic economic transformation. Meanwhile, the RCEP agreement will be officially implemented in early 2022. As one of the largest free trade zones in the world, it covers about a quarter of the world's population and economic output. This not only strengthens the physical transportation network, it has also promoted the formation of economic cooperation networks among countries in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Countries optimize resource allocation through this network. Against this background, the global economic landscape has gradually taken on the characteristics of what Mackinder described as the island of the world. In 2022, major economic events also took place in some maritime countries. The United States implemented an unprecedented rate hike policy in response to inflation and the consequences of economic stimulus measures during the epidemic. This policy has put the global economy at risk of recession. Capital markets suffered a cold winter, and many internet companies laid off staff. The United States has also passed the CHIP Act and the Inflation Reduction Act to try to revive domestic manufacturing, especially in the field of semiconductors and new energy vehicles. Middle Eastern countries took advantage of the low oil prices. In cooperation with Russia-led OPEC+, it announced a reduction in oil production. Further impact on inflation in the United States. The United States continues to raise interest rates, causing the dollar to strengthen. For developing countries and some developed countries such as Sri Lanka, Britain and Japan have caused pressure. Britain experiences political change and financial merit in 2022, with frequent changes of prime ministers. Japan's economic policy and new energy vehicle industry are facing challenges. Following the tragic death of Shinzo Abe, Japan started selling U.S. treasuries in response to U.S. interest rate hikes, and unexpectedly raised interest rates at the end of the year, launching an economic game with the United States. In the context of global economic turmoil, China, as an important player in globalization, it also encountered complex economic challenges. In 2022, China's M2 money supply continued to grow by double digits on top of a large base. However, despite the easing of monetary policy, The number of players willing to absorb new capital in the market remains limited. The scale of social financing is unsatisfactory, and consumers are conservative about borrowing to buy houses. The inversion of government bond yields and concerns about China's epidemic prevention policy have also put pressure on the RMB exchange rate. This further exacerbates the fragility of China's stock market. The downturn in the real estate market and the funding problems of some large real estate companies pose challenges to local government finances. Manufacturing is also facing the double blow of lower exports and chip shortages, as evidenced by the significant decrease in mobile phone sales. We also discussed the development potential of new energy vehicles in China, the fiscal considerations behind the adjustment of epidemic policies, the reduction of the demographic dividend, the challenge of growing domestic demand, and the importance of promoting county-level urbanization and comprehensive tax reform. During the year, different groups of people faced different challenges. Some young people chose to lie flat. Others maintained their daily lives through hard work. The United States, as the representative of the frontier region, promoted the establishment of the Bretton Woods system after World War II. Linking the dollar to gold and then to oil continued to promote its idea of globalization. After a 6-decade economic cycle, the global economy began to show signs of recession in 2023. The influence of maritime nations is gradually increasing. This is also a reason for the changes in Sino-US relations and the geopolitical crisis. In Eurasia, the depth and breadth of the economy continue to expand. The large population and vast territory provide a vast space for demand. By connecting to the rail network, transportation costs are reduced. It promoted transactions, expanded markets, and strengthened the economic aggregation effect. Mackinder may not have foreseen that a short 120 years later, the railway network will connect the entire Eurasian continent. It forms the longest economic corridor in the world. Behind all this is the huge potential for economic cooperation, and the contours of the world island pattern are becoming increasingly apparent. The political, economic, and diplomatic decisions of major powers are all in pursuit of advancing their own economic and security interests. All social phenomena are essentially economic phenomena. 2022 has become history. We stand at the crucial point of this unprecedented change in a century. Understanding the megatrends of the global economy is crucial for everyone.